Well, hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about something that's really personal yet inspiring. I'm going to talk about all of the opportunities and blessings that came into my life after my brain cancer diagnosis. Welcome to Diagnosis and Beyond. I'm your host, Angel Marie Carson. I'm a speech-language pathologist of almost 30 years, a brain cancer survivor of 16 years, and a mom. So if somebody would have asked me 16 years ago if I would be practicing my profession as a speech-language pathologist after losing my speech, but also, not just that, volunteering in my local community. I am my Kiwanis volunteer coordinator for the Orlando chapter, and I enjoy volunteering. But I'm also working. I am a virtual supervisor for a clinic in California where I have 3 assistants under me, and I also have an in-person position at a charter school in Orange County, along with being a parent of 2, they're adults now, but still, it's not easy, but I'm doing it. The first blessing that came into my life, because I only took a summer off, and what happened, why I went back to work, was because I was only 41, and I had been volunteering in my local community. My kids were in 3rd and 4th grade. I was the picture of health. I had been training and participating in sprint triathlons. So it was a shock to my community, of course, that I developed brain cancer at 41. So I wasn't getting asked to volunteer anymore. So I was experiencing isolation while going through my treatment. Again, I only took the summer off. I went back to work, not for money, but because I needed to be part of something other than she's the mom with brain cancer. So I went back to work. I got a warm welcome from my speech pathology friends because in this field, we know a lot about the brain, and we know that you can still function and do your job. But if I had any other profession, I would have been scapegoated, and they would have been looking for problems. But that wasn't the case. So I was able to go back to work and continue working the program that I created. When you work in the school system, you work with the lower 10% that are in the school. That means they're the lowest scoring students. So they're the ones that need the most academic help in all areas. So that's the population that we serve in the public school system. So I figured out a way to get those kids to feel like take ownership of that school by creating a program called Student Ambassador. I had vests made for them that said Student Ambassador on it. I paired them with teachers so they could be a teacher's assistant. Whether it be passing out papers, they felt important. So they were coming to school on time. It worked. And once a month, I had a student ambassador breakfast where we honored one student ambassador, and then he was in the newspaper, she was in the newspaper, the school newspaper. That was a big deal for them. They needed to feel included. So that was one program. I was blessed to be able to do that. And then the other blessing was that I got published with ASHA. That's the organization, it's the American Speech and Hearing Association. And that's the organization that provides CEUs for speech-language pathologists and audiologists. When I came back to work, my administrator asked me if I would speak to all of Orange County, to all the speech therapists. And I just didn't want to do it because I was in treatment. I was still having radiation, and I was on chemo at night. I would take a pill. And the words were coming back. I lost my hair. I had to wear hats. So I really didn't feel up to it. but I knew I had an obligation to educate my peers about the important role that we play as speech pathologists. You know, in this caring field, occupational therapy and physical therapy, they get recognized because you can see it, and they deserve the recognition. I'm not saying that they don't deserve it, but when you are a speech therapist, when you lose your speech, you can't see everything that you lose. But you lose your dignity, you lose respect, you lose, and you lose even your confidence. And that can't be seen because you have to settle, because you can't get your wants and needs out. You know, you can't verbalize. So there's a lot of things that go on internally that aren't seen. So I had to, let them know that no, they're making a difference in the world. So I got published with ASHA October 2011, and that was a blessing because at my college, or my alma mater, they have a speech and hearing clinic, as they do in any college that has this program for speech and language. Dr. Whiteside, that was her name, she had it framed and she put it in the clinic just to show the clinicians that they are important. So anyway, that happened, and then after my kids graduated from high school, I had more time that I could spend. I didn't have to be off when they were off. So I went to go work in a clinic. And while I was working in the clinic, I became the clinic director, and I was supervising interns, along with being a supervisor of assistants. So I never would have believed that that would happen, but it did. So I believe that I like mentoring speech therapists because they need to know that compassion and resilience is just as important as clinical skills. So that empowered me to be able to, let them know that, I'm a brain cancer survivor, but yet this is what I'm teaching you. Now, I would tell them that later. I wouldn't just spring it on them, but I did tell them. I would tell them because I got close enough to them. But anyway, the most important role that I still had was being a parent. So while my clinical skills were enhanced, my parenting skills were also enhanced. Every school performance, every award ceremony, everything with my family, it was urgent that I was there. And I was really present there for them. So I was really present in my profession. I was really present in my kids' lives. So it became like a passion for me, just living and doing what I love. That became a real passion for me. But I learned over 16 years that I can't just tell people right away. I have to let them get to know me first before I say anything, because there's a stigma attached. And immediately when you say brain cancer, they start finding things wrong. Oh, she can't do that because she has brain cancer. I mean, they're just thinking it. But it's human nature. So that's why I'm going to talk about that in my next video. If you're watching this and you're going through something terrible, or you're a caregiver, or you're grieving about your uncertain future, I want you to know something. Your life is not over because your life has changed. You can still have purpose, opportunities, or blessings. You can still make an impact on your life in your little communities. You can still make an impact. Sometimes the path just looks different from what you originally imagined. Thank you so much for being here and listening to this part of my story. If this video resonated with you, please like it, comment, and subscribe. If you're a survivor yourself, I'd like to hear an opportunity that you were blessed with after your diagnosis. I'll see you in the next video. I'll talk about the stigma surrounding cancer and other neurological disorders, how it affects survivors after the treatment ends. Okay, thank you again. This has been Diagnosis and Beyond. I'm your host, Angel Marie Carson, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.